life-sustaining treatment of Texas Right to Life is the oldest and the largest pro-life organization in the state, and 20 years ago, we expanded our mission to protect patients' rights, including minors who are hospitalized, and there is pressure from the hospitals and from doctors to withdraw that treatment. We have helped hundreds of families and protected vulnerable patients from newborns to those to patients in their 90s. As pro-life Texans, we are concerned about the systematic pressure to withdraw treatment, especially when there are legal questions and discussions of who is the proper surrogate decision maker to decide these life and death issues. We oppose the pro-euthanasia logic that says what happens in the hospital does not matter. The cause of death of the patient is ethically important, and that rush to withdraw life-sustaining treatment is something we adamantly oppose. We have seen time and time again that when there is legal confusion about who gets to make these decisions, who has the authority to withdraw treatment, that hospitals and doctors pressure the withdrawal of treatment, which occasions the death of vulnerable patients in Texas. Like in other cases that we've had very similar to this one, of baby Legend Johnson in 2023 and baby Wren in 2025. This is a too familiar story. We are concerned that this aspect of the Robertson case has been neglected, and want to highlight that unfortunately this is not rare, but something that our judicial system, that our governor, and that the citizens should be concerned about. We are thankful for the progress that the legislature has made in the area of patients' rights and respecting medical decisions from the proper guardians and parents to make for their children. However, coercion and a rush to withdraw treatment is too common around the state, and unfortunately, it's exactly what we see in this case in front of us. Thank you. And in their situation, their 4-year-old son, Drake, had a lot of complex medical issues. He was regularly seen by the doctors in Dallas. And on one particular visit, they took him into the hospital, and there was among other things, there was a question that came up about whether he needed a more permanent G-tube installed. And the doctor who was assigned to visit Drake in that hospital wasn't coming. And the family ended up filing a complaint with the hospital against him. And then come to find out, shortly after that complaint was filed, that doctor called in the child abuse pediatrician at that hospital to review the case. That child abuse pediatrician never met the family, never met Drake. CPS came in and took Drake away from his family, and all on the theory that the family might go and find another hospital and trick the hospital into getting a G-tube that might be unnecessary. That was the allegation. And on that basis, they took him for multiple months. We fought that all the way to the Texas Supreme Court, and the Texas Supreme Court ultimately sent him home. The second story that I want to tell to illustrate a point that I'm going to come back to in a second is one that just happened last year. And so in case you were thinking that this is something that happened 6 years ago and doesn't happen anymore, this one is from last year. And this is Jackie and Juan Boatwright from Fort Worth, Texas, who took their daughter Evelyn into Cook Children's Hospital because she was experiencing seizure-like symptoms. And when they took her into Cook Children's Hospital, Cook Children's did an MRI. Within 2 minutes of when they conducted that MRI, the radiologist at Cook Children's Hospital wrote in the medical records that he suspected them for child abuse. How many alternative diagnoses had been done in that 2 minutes? 0. That's the point. Because then they proceeded to call in the child abuse pediatrician. They then proceeded to kick the family out of the hospital. And they took Evelyn for 10 months from that family. Multiple other medical experts came in to explain the brain bleed that Evelyn had and the alternative causes that could explain that, and Evelyn ended up being sent home in the fall of last year. Now, a third story that just happened recently here in Austin is a family that we helped who took their child in to the local hospital to get an evaluation done on a growth that the child had. And the hospital said, well, you probably need to get it biopsied. They chose to get it biopsied at a different medical facility because they trusted the second medical facility more. Well, the first medical facility called CPS on them because they chose a second medical facility, right? And so the common theme between all of these cases that I want to draw out for you guys is the fact that when these types of things happen, what the family experiences is that they are presumed guilty of child abuse from the beginning, and everything that follows afterwards is then interpreted in that light. and the alternative diagnoses that are supposed to be investigated aren't investigated by the doctors. And when you put these doctors on the stand, what they'll typically tell you is, we're not investigators. CPS is supposed to do that. Well, then you put CPS on the stand, and CPS will say, but we're not medical doctors. The doctors are supposed to do that. And so you get all the way to the court, and nobody has investigated what actually took place, but the family still lost their children. And then if they do get their children back, the situation that family is in is that how are they ever going to trust medical facilities again? And especially if you have a child that has ongoing medical needs, now every time you're contemplating if you can afford to go to a hospital or a doctor to get medical care for your child, you have to call your attorney before you can call your doctor to figure out if it's safe to get medical care for your child. So the point I want to illustrate for you guys is that this is an ongoing systematic problem that's happening in Texas. So it's not just one case. It's not just from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a consistent, ongoing thing that's happening every day. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brad Squealis.